We now know pretty well what the track of this balloon was. It started in China, using prevailing winds, but also with some capacity to maneuver itself. It came close to the Aleutian Islands, over Alaska, through Canada, into the United States, and then it hovered. It hovered over the missile fields, the ICBM missile fields in Montana, where the Americans keep their Minuteman III strategic nuclear missiles. And we know also that this balloon has since manoeuvred, so it can move itself both up and down to catch different air currents and left and right. So it's not completely random. It's a pretty big thing, too. These balloons are fairly large, and this balloon's always being measured according to the proverbial three buses, the three London buses. And in fact, the three buses refers to the width of the balloon and the width of the gondola underneath the balloon, which is where all the solar panels are and the intelligence gathering equipment. But it's the size of these things that makes them quite interesting and quite difficult to shoot down. In August 1998, the British, Canadian and American Air Forces failed to shoot down a rogue meteorological balloon that was over the Arctic and was a threat to civilian air traffic, and they couldn't get it down. The Canadians pumped over 1,000 cannon shells into the thing, and it still put lots of holes in it, did not deflate it enough to bring it down. So they're not as easy to shoot down as people imagine, and they're not as combustible as people imagine. The other thing that's interesting about this is the question of the altitude. The height at which it was moving. It was moving at about 60,000 feet. Now, the heights that are normally considered important are civilian air traffic. That goes at about between 30 and 40,000 feet. Not many civilian airliners ever go above 40,000 feet. Jets, fighter jets, they tend to go at 50,000 feet. They can go to 50,000 feet. I have to say, they don't perform terribly well above 40,000 feet because the air is too thin. So most aircraft are well below 50,000 feet most of the time. Balloons begin at 60,000 feet, and most of them go up to about 150,000. So this balloon was at the base of the normal altitude that balloons operate at, which, of course, tells us that the Chinese knew it would be spotted. Good grief, you can see the thing from the ground, just with the naked eye. So they knew it would be spotted. It's clearly a surveillance balloon. It was clearly going to be seen. This is a military stunt, which they're pulling because they want to react to what America is doing elsewhere in the world, and particularly towards the South China Sea and the Philippines. It's gone wrong on them. It's become a cause célèbre of something else. It's pointed out to the rest of the world that they do this, that they invade other people's airspace, that they're looking at people all the time. They've done it to other countries. They've been over Hawaii. They've been over Guam in the past. This is a stunt which has sort of gone wrong. And the Americans actually are getting more out of it by milking it, showing that this is what China gets up to. And so probably what seemed like a good idea in Beijing last week is something they've lost control of. It probably doesn't seem such a good idea this week.